During the first months of lockdown, the world outside my window felt like it had been paused. The city I'd always known, restless, buzzing, never truly quiet, was suddenly still in a way that didn't feel natural. No cars hummed in the distance, no voices carried from the streets, no muffled music slipped out of apartment windows. The air was heavy with a strange, oppressive calm, as if even the wind had agreed to stop moving. Daylight felt muted, and nights were suffocatingly silent. I remember standing at my front door one evening, just listening. All I could hear was the faint electric hum of the refrigerator inside, the ticking of the wall clock. Outside, nothing. Not a single footstep, not a cough, not even the faint rustle of leaves. It should have been peaceful, but instead, it was unsettling, the kind of quiet that makes you hyper-aware of every little sound your own body makes, like your breathing is too loud. It wasn't just me who noticed it. Friends I spoke to over the phone said the same thing, how the city felt abandoned, as if everyone had disappeared overnight. I told myself this was what safety sounded like, the absence of danger. And for a while, I believed that. I clung to the idea that the silence outside meant we were safe inside. But silence has a way of making you notice the wrong things. And soon, I would notice something that shattered any sense of safety I had left. It was a little after midnight when I heard it for the first time. At first, I thought I was imagining things, a faint, rhythmic tapping, like someone walking slowly down the hallway outside my apartment. I froze, straining my ears. The sound was soft, deliberate, not hurried like a jogger or clumsy like someone carrying groceries. These were measured steps, evenly spaced, almost cautious, like whoever it was didn't want to be heard. I told myself it had to be a neighbor. People still had to move around, right? Maybe someone coming home late from a night shift. But in lockdown, nobody was supposed to be out this late. The streets were empty. Even delivery drivers stopped working hours ago. I checked my phone for the time, 12:07 a.m., and the steps were still there, pacing, slow and steady. Curiosity tugged at me, but I didn't move toward the door. I just stood in the middle of my darkened living room, holding my breath. The sound came closer, until it seemed to stop right outside. My chest tightened. I expected a knock, a voice, something. But there was nothing. Just silence, sudden and complete. I waited, counting the seconds, the stillness pressing against me. Finally, I exhaled, convincing myself it was nothing. I didn't know then that this was just the first night, the start of something that would keep returning, always at the same time, as if whoever, or whatever, out there had found me. The next night, it happened again. Same time, same slow, deliberate steps outside my door. By the third night, I realized it wasn't random, it was a pattern. Midnight would come, and right on cue, the footsteps would start somewhere in the distance, then work their way closer. Sometimes they passed by in a straight line, fading into the far end of the hallway. Other nights, they stopped for long stretches, like the person, or thing, was just standing there, listening. I started paying attention to every detail. The steps were always the same pace, never faster or slower. No dragging feet, no uneven limps, just methodical. There was never the sound of a door opening or closing, no muffled voices, no clinking keys. And the strange thing was, whenever I worked up the courage to look through the peephole, the hallway was empty. The silence after those steps stopped was worse than the steps themselves. It was as if they were daring me to come closer, to open the door. Days in lockdown began to blur together, but nights were sharp, etched into my memory. I'd sit on the couch with the TV muted, waiting. Sometimes my palms would sweat before the sound even began, like my body already knew it was coming. I tried to tell myself it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but deep down, I felt it. Whatever was out there knew I was here, and it wanted me to know it too. It didn't take long for the footsteps to change. They weren't just passing by anymore, they were lingering. The first time it happened, I was sitting in bed with the lights off, trying to read on my phone, when I heard them approach. Slow, steady, closer. Then they stopped directly in front of my door. I held my breath, waiting for them to move on, but they didn't. Seconds dragged into minutes, and the silence between each faint creak of the floorboards felt like a scream in my ears. Then, one night, I heard something new, the faintest shuffle, like someone adjusting their stance, followed by the sound of skin brushing against wood. My door. I didn't dare move, but my heart was pounding so loud I swore they could hear it. And then, a whisper. It wasn't clear enough to make out words, but it was close, too close, the kind of sound you feel against your ear rather than hear through it. After that, the noises became bolder. Sometimes it was a faint scratching at the bottom of the door. Other times, I could see the shadow of feet beneath it, unmoving, as if whoever was there was studying the crack for a way in. I started locking my door twice, then pushing a chair against it, even though I knew it wouldn't help if they really wanted to come inside. It was no longer about them being outside, it was about how much closer they might get. And I couldn't shake the feeling that one night soon, they wouldn't stop at my door. It was the 4th week when I finally broke. I hadn't slept properly in days. Every night I sat in the dark, back against the wall, eyes locked on the door, listening for that familiar approach. It always came. And each time, it seemed a little slower, a little heavier, like they were savoring the walk toward me. That night, the sound began at exactly 12:06 a.m. I could trace each step in my head, from the far end of the hallway, to halfway down, to just a few feet away. Then silence. No movement. I sat frozen, hands trembling, every muscle in my body screaming to either run or fling the door open. Something shifted in me. Maybe it was exhaustion, or maybe I was tired of feeling hunted in my own home. I got up, moved the chair away from the door, and wrapped my hand around the knob. My heartbeat was so loud it drowned out every other sound. I took one deep breath, then another, and turned it. The door creaked open into the dim hallway light. Empty. My eyes scanned every shadow, every corner, searching for a shape, a movement, anything. Nothing. The hallway was silent and still, just as it always had been. But as I stepped out, I realized something was wrong. The air felt colder, heavier, like it was pressing against my skin. Then, behind me, inside my apartment, I heard it, one slow, deliberate step on my wooden floor. I didn't turn around right away. I couldn't. My hand was still on the doorknob, frozen, as if letting go would somehow make whatever was behind me real. The air inside my apartment felt wrong now, still, but charged, like the moment before a lightning strike. I could feel it there, not just hear it. The weight of its presence filled the room, heavy and deliberate, as if it had been waiting for me to leave the safety of the door so it could finally come inside. Another step. Slow. Measured. The sound of wood groaning under weight that shouldn't be there. My chest tightened until breathing felt like an effort. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't listen. Instead, I glanced down the empty hallway one last time, as if hoping it would somehow explain what was happening. It didn't. The world outside remained still, quiet, untouched. I turned finally, my eyes adjusting to the darkness of my apartment. There was nothing, no shape, no shadow, no movement. Just the faint smell of something unfamiliar, metallic and cold. My living room looked exactly as I had left it. And yet, I knew I wasn't alone. I shut the door, locked it, and sat there until sunrise, every light in the apartment blazing. I never saw anything that night. I never heard the footsteps again either. But sometimes, when the city is quiet enough, I still feel that same heaviness in the air, and I know it's still here. Waiting. And that's my story? Believe me when I say, silence isn't always safety. Sometimes it's just the space between the sounds you're not ready to hear. If you ever find yourself in a quiet hallway at night, and you think you hear footsteps, don't wait to see who they belong to. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more chilling tales that will keep you looking over your shoulder, make sure to share this video with someone who loves a good scare, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video.